what it is. The Celtics taking care of business. It's Live Zone and Mazzi back with you for Dynamics on the Hardwood. Another installment breaking down the finals thus far. 2 games in. Mavericks, Celtics. Celtics looking pretty damn good. Live Zone, what's going on with you? How are you feeling about the series?
We're feeling really good if you're a Boston Celtics fan, but if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, we're not feeling too good about the 0-2 right now. It's definitely going to be a comeback if they can even get in control. The whole team is out of control. Nobody's scoring but Luka. We got a lot to talk about.
We do. It's shifting back to Dallas for game 3. I want to know what your thoughts are on game 3. Is anything going to change for the Mavericks offensively? Are other players going to step up that you see? Or is Boston just going to continue to break them down on defense and put up points enough to beat them each time, even going 7 for 30 from the field or 8 for 39, something crazy,
See,
in game 2?
see,
Um,
it's hard to tell because as of right now the Celtics are not favored in Dallas, which I understand completely. Celtics, when they win game 2, they usually lose game 3, which is a-okay. It really just comes down to what we're going to see from Kyrie Irving. If we're going to see the 41 minutes for 16 points and 6 assists, it's not going to work out. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are each scoring 20 points, and if not, you got Drew Holiday there that's playing very good defense and shooting the ball well. You got Al Horford that's a key player on the bench right now because of Kristaps. And another one is Kristaps Porzingis. Are we going to see him go off for another 30 points, or are we going to see him go off for 12? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of moving pieces in game 3 in Dallas. I would take the Dallas Mavericks in game 3 just because I just don't think that the Mavericks will allow themselves to go 0-3 in the NBA Finals. But at the end of the day, it could happen. We could end up seeing a sweep from the Celtics team. They are the best team in the league. 64 wins on the season. I would not be surprised. But we shall see what happens.
if Mavericks go down 0-3, this series is pretty much over. No team ever coming back from that. I doubt it's going to happen in the finals for the first time. Could, but very, very difficult. That being said, I think the Mavericks definitely take game 3 at home. I think it's going to be the best game of the series because it's going to go down to the wire. I think inevitably the Mavericks will win that game, and it'll come down to a pivotal game 4 that I think the Celtics will take care of business in. I expect Luka to show up and score over 30 points. I expect him to score about 35 to 40 in this game because he knows he has to put up just even a little more because he doesn't know if anybody else is going to show up. Looking at the team, there's no help for Luka, so we need to look at what's going wrong with the Mavericks. Is it Kyrie Irving not playing up to a standard? Is it the whole team? Is it key individual players? Because PJ Washington's balling out some nights and balling out and not balling out other nights, but Kyrie's averaging 11 points through 2 games, while Jason Tatum is averaging 17 points through 2 games, and the Celtics are up 2-0. None of these stats seem to bode well for the Mavericks. So what's the actual problem on the team? Do you think it's the role players for the Mavericks? Do you think it's Kyrie not stepping up as that second number one? What is it for you?
I think it comes down to the minutes that are being played, right? Derek Jones Jr., he had 32 minutes for 11 points. I mean, the dude can only really fly out the building, and that's about it, right? Then after that, you got PJ Washington, 40 minutes for 17 points. As much as that looks good for a PJ Washington night, he should be scoring like 23 to 25 as the third key player on this team. Well, from what it looks like in this series, right? Daniel Gafford, 23 minutes for 13 points and 9 rebounds. Almost had a double-double, but 13 points from your starting center is not going to cut it whatsoever. Kyrie Irving, like we said, 16 points, 6 assists, 41 minutes. Kyrie Irving's not playing to his potential. He could be a star in the league if, he just got out of his mind a little bit, but it just seems like he's just in the Boston mindset where it's like Boston are hating him and he's listening to the crowd too much and he's not playing the game. And then you have Derek Lively. Kid's a young stud, but he only had 2 points and he had 7 rebounds. I mean, you need more points from that. I mean, looking at this team, that is your 6th man, really. Josh Green only had 4 points. Dante Exum is getting 10 minutes a game, which is crazy because he should be a bench player. Then after that, on the Celtics side as well, Jason Tatum, he really needs to step up because he only had 18 points, but he did have 12 assists and 9 rebounds, so he almost had a triple-double. But 18 points is not going to cut it in Dallas, right? That's the thing that I'm looking at. We need to see Jason Tatum be Jason Tatum and not Tracy McGrady 2.0, right? So that's what I'm looking at for the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown's doing his thing. Drew Holiday, 26 points with 11 rebounds is insane to me. He had the game of the night, in my opinion. The dude can ball. Drew Holiday is a very important player to this Boston Celtics team right now. Derek White had 18. Kristaps only had 12. We need to see Kristaps get a little bit more than that. But, the thing that I want to say is 2, 4, 6, 8. The Celtics are really playing a 7-man rotation right now when the Mavericks are playing a 12-man rotation. So looking at it, I mean, are the Celtics gonna get drained because they're only playing their 7 best players, or are the Celtics gonna move up and stop everybody but Luka, because that's looking like the key to winning a championship is you can let Luka go off, you just need to stop everybody else.
Yeah, so a lot to unpack there. First off, I'm going to disagree with the Jason Tatum assumption that he needs to do better. I think he's actually doing exactly what he has to do in this series. It's not calling for him to be the best player right now. It's calling for Jaylen Brown, and it's Jaylen Brown who's playing to that level right now, and they're trying to separate the 2 stars in it, and they're sticking together and playing their roles along with everybody else on the team. Horford, Porzingis, Holiday, Derek White, everybody, Pritchard off the bench, everybody on that team is playing their role. And if they play 2 more games exactly how they played, they win. Again, even if they have a terrible night shooting again, you can see it. Luka's going to put up 30 and Kyrie and the team's not going to show up. They're going to get one in the series for sure. Dallas will, but other than that, the Celtics way of playing, I'm fine with the defense and everything. Looking at Dallas, I think it comes down to 2 key players. I know you're calling out the whole team for sure, but I'm looking at Derek Lively and Kyrie Irving. It's not being said enough. Derek Lively, I know you're a rookie, but we're here in the NBA Finals. 2 points is unacceptable. You need to show up for your team. You need to be a factor. You are big down low. You should be able to get some boards over Al Horford and make some buckets over Al Horford down low. Kristaps, a challenging matchup for him, but at least one of the 2, you got to get something on there. And looking at Kyrie Irving, just straight up a bum. Kyrie is just a bum at this point. He needs a star player to carry him to the NBA championship every time. He does not take the role of his position serious, it seems. He's lacking accountability. He seems to brush it off. He seems like he thinks they're fine. I think again, they will win game 3, I believe, and, he will have a swagger to him, but come game 4, I think it's nailing the coffin time for the series. Celtics more than likely in 5 in this series, but if Kyrie scores 20, if Kyrie was averaging 20 in this series, I think the series is 1-1. And that's should be pretty normal for Kyrie at this point. So I'll be eager to see what happens. Porzingis scoring 20 in the first game and only scoring 12 in the second game, and towards the end of the game coming out because he did have that leg injury, that soreness, that however long of a tendonitis thing they called it. Something to look out for in this series. Do you think he will play in this game coming up and he'll be 100% and be able to put up 15 to 20, or is he looking like a 10-point game coming up and a good game for the Mavericks to steal?
See, I think that this is where the Celtics get hurt. Celtics are hurt down low right now, and they're not playing their backup players as much. You only got Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard and Al Horford up here that they're playing on the backup role. So that hurts. You know what I mean? Kristaps not being 110%. It's looking rough for the Boston Celtics in Game 3, I'm not going to lie, with Al Horford only putting up 5 points and 7 rebounds last game. I love Al Horford. I will be the first one to say Al Horford is my favorite Celtics player on the team right now. But at the end of the day, you need Kristaps to win this game. You need Kristaps to be at least 80%, and I don't even think he's at that, to be honest with you. I think he'll still play. I think that he'll get minutes. Do I think that he'll be on the bench like game one? I do. I think he'll start on the bench, and I think that will maybe give him a little bit of adrenaline to push through maybe a 20-point game, but it's like a 40% chance. I would really go, if you're betting, I would really go on the points on Al Horford. I think he's going to be the most important big man for the Celtics in game 3.
I would have to say, if you're betting for sure, hit Luka on the over of 30 if you can, anytime. And I think Tatum's line for points, assists, and rebounds at about 40, because he's going to need a big game coming up here. Might be a sneaky line to look at.
That's a rough one. That's a rough one. I'm looking at Jalen. I'm looking at Jalen for the points, and I'm looking at Drew Holiday for rebounds. I'm not really looking at Tatum this series because he's not having the best series for himself. So, I,
He almost put up a triple double last game.
he did, but his points are at 25, and he only had 18 and 16 in the last game. So I would go on the under on points.
Yeah, but he hit 39 last game with not even showing up, and I feel like this is the game that he has to show up. Makes a couple more buckets, couple more threes. I think he only hit one or two threes in that game, if that. And if he hits a couple of those, it's right there past the line. So I'm hitting it. I'm not telling you to hit it. I'm telling you to look at it. Maybe, um, you know,
Yeah,
it's steady.
it's a NBA Finals series. Anything could happen, but I do want to talk about Peyton Pritchard only having 3 points, but having probably the most important 3 points in the game because it was the pivotal movement in the game. That half court shot to end the quarter. That was a hell of a shot by Peyton Pritchard. I don't know how you felt about it.
I think it was dope, and I think it was funny because I think his line was 1.5 or 2.5 points, and that was the only points of the game for him. And so if you had the over on Peyton Pritchard for that game, you hit, and that's lit as hell.
Yeah, I thought that was a hell of a shot. The Celtics ball movement that they got going on right now, it's just looking good. I told everybody on TikTok this multiple times. I said that the Mavericks were done for if Kristaps was here. It's looking like my prediction came true here with the Celtics being up 2-0. I do think that the Mavericks are still in trouble, but I really do think that we are seeing a dynasty unfold here. Hot takes with Livezone Sports. If we're going to see a three-peat anytime soon, it's going to be from this Celtics team because they are just unstoppable.
Very, 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 very hot take. We'll have to see when the competition is at a higher level and everybody elevates to try and beat this team after this season. I do want to say something too as well. I believe Luka Doncic needs to stop talking to the crowd as well. I know it's part of his game, but in the NBA Finals, chirping at somebody in the front row when you're losing the game, kind of a crazy move to me, I think, by Luka. I'm not saying he can't ball like that, but I don't know if that's that's the type of energy you need in this moment when your team is not putting up numbers for you at all or coming together for you. I don't necessarily, it should become you versus the world. So I don't know how you feel about that. But I just I don't think it's the right time to do that. Fine with doing that, but I just don't think it's the right stage and time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of Luka's game. Everybody was in Luka's head because it really looks like there was nobody else on that floor but Luka when you look at all the stats and everything. So I can see why he's frustrated. I could see why he's upset and mad. He just lost Kristaps Porzingis because Kristaps wasn't doing good for the Dallas Mavericks. He comes to this Boston Celtics team, starts wiping the floor against Dallas. I mean, I could see why he's upset about it. I could see why he's mad at the Boston crowd for how they react to Kyrie and the whole Dallas Mavericks team. But hey,
It's Boston,
Boston,
baby. It's
it's Boston,
Boston.
Massachusetts. Boston has the best fans, and I will be the first one to say that. When it comes to a sports game, the one fan base that you want on your side is Boston and New England
Yep.
because they are the loudest and they
And it's
make
not
sure
just
that.
Boston. It's New Hampshire, Connecticut, Maine, Rhode
Yep.
Island, everywhere, bro.
Yep. It's all of New England. They're all there. They are the loudest, and they're going to make sure that you hear it if you're not liked by
Yep.
them. So it's just
Yep.
one of those
Don't do
things that
anything stupid and we won't like and we'll like you.
it's just one of those things
It's
that's
crazy.
it is what it is. They got in his head. That's all it was. So if the crowd is taking Luka out of the game, that's on Luka. That ain't on the fans, right?
Do you
So.
think Kyrie? I think Kyrie's at like 18, over or under 18 points on Prize Picks this game. Do you think you take that?
No, nope.
You
I
take the
think he's
under?
gonna. I think he's gonna have a big game on assists though. The one person that I'm looking at is I'm very interested to see what we see from PJ Washington. If
Okay.
I'm taking it over for the Dallas Mavericks, other than Luca, that would be the guy. It would be PJ.
We will see.
With that being said, we still have a lot of NBA left. We could see more than two games here in the NBA Finals. A lot more to talk about with Luka and Jason Tatum and the rest of the teams. But anyways, as I always say, Mazzi, I'll let you break it down for him.
Stay tuned.